Hi, it's Fazana again. Welcome to part 4 of this topic on straight line graphs. In this particular video, we're going to look at parallel lines and how to deal with them. Okay, let's just look at the basic concepts again. So you know the equation of a straight line is y equals mx plus c, where m is your gradient, and the way you calculate it is your change in y divided by your change in x, and c is your y-intercept. Now we know that when you're trying to find the gradient, you're trying to find the steepness of a line. So you know where we do our triangle, so you've got 1 here and 3 there. So your change in y divided by your change in x. So your m would be 3 divided by 1, which is 3. Now, if you had a parallel line, then you know that when you did your triangle again, you'd still have 1 and 3. So you can tell the gradients with parallel lines must be the same because they're actually measuring the steepness. Yeah, let's have a look. Okay, so if we had to draw the lines with these different equations, remember, I hope you've watched my videos on linear sequences or nth term, because we use our nth term to plot straight line graphs, because your y equals mx plus c is the same as your an plus c. Yeah? So remember, with the nth term, the c was the 0th term, which would be your 1. Okay? And then the difference in your numbers is 2. So if you go 1 plus 2 is 3 and 5. And when you're going that way, you're minusing 2. So you've got minus 1, minus 3. Yeah? It's so easy using the nth term, isn't it? Here, your 0th term is 2. And your difference in numbers is 2. So 2, 4, 6. Then you've got 0 and minus 2. See how fast I can go using the nth term. So you've got minus 3, and then add 2, you've got minus 1 and 1, and that way we're going minus 2, so minus 5, minus 7. Yeah? Okay, you can see they're all y equals 2x, so the gradients are all 2. So what we're expecting when we sketch it is 3 lines which have the same gradients, and therefore they're parallel, and you can see that totally works out. These are the equations here. So parallel lines have the same gradient. Makes it easy, doesn't it? Okay, right, let's have a look at some questions they give you relating to parallel lines. So the line y equals 3x plus 5 crosses the y-axis at P. What is the value of y at P? So we know that so well because we know 5 is your y-intercept. So that coordinate there will be 0, 5. So the value of y at P is just 5. If they ask you, write down the equation of another line which is parallel to y equals 3x plus 5, then you can just make it up. As long as you've got y equals 3x, you just put anything there. Yeah? Okay? Because you know those 2 lines will be parallel because they've got the same gradient. Okay? As easy as that. Okay? Find the equation of a straight line parallel to y equals 3x plus 1 and passing through the point 4, 7. Okay, so you know the first part of your equation again is y equals 3x because it has to have the same gradient. And then you remember in part 2, was it, of the straight line graph topic, we discussed if you know your gradient and you want to find your c, all you do is you substitute that point in the line because you know the point has to lie on the line, so it has to satisfy the equation. Yeah? So instead of y, we put 7, and then 3 times your x coordinates, so 3 times 4 is 12, and then what you do to 12 to get 7, you minus 5. So your equation is y equals 3x minus 5. Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? Okay. Find the equation of the line parallel to 4x plus 3y equals 11 and passing through the point 5, 2. Now here, remember, when you want to find your gradient, it has to be 1y equals mx plus c. So it has to be in that format. So let's take away, let's take the 4x to the other side. So we're going to minus 4x. So you've got 3y equals minus 4x plus 11. And then we have to divide everything by 3 to get 1y. So you've got minus 4 over 3x plus 11 over 3. We don't really need the c at the moment. All we need is that gradient. So you know the equation of this line that's parallel will also be y equals minus 4/3 x. Okay? We've got our gradient. Now we can substitute that point, 5, 2. And always put it on the side. It just gives you that direction rather than trying to look at it from here. So it's so easy to pick up the wrong coordinate. So instead of y, we're going to put 2 equals, and then minus, we always put our minus first, and then 4/3 times 5 will be 20 over 3, which will be 6 2/3. Yeah? Okay, so we've got minus 6 2/3. So what do we do to minus 6 2/3 to get 2? So you know you'll have to add 2 more than that. So you've got 8 2/3. Yeah? So then your equation will be minus 4/3 x plus 8 2/3. So we'll just write that out a bit better because we'll make that a mixed number. So you've got minus 1 1/3 x plus 8 2/3. Okay? As I've mentioned on so many of my videos, it doesn't matter how well you know a topic. If you can't handle fractions and negative numbers, your workings will totally collapse. So that's where your power is. Fractions, negative numbers. Yeah? Okay, let's try another example. The straight line has equation y equals 2x plus 3. The straight line L2 is parallel to that line, and L2 passes through that point. So again, the only thing confusing about this question is the L1, L2. So you know the straight line L2 will also be y equals 2x because it is parallel to that. So it has to have the same gradient. And then again, we just substitute. Okay? So they'll just make the questions a little wordier, but all you need is just pick up the basic information. So you've got 2, I don't know why it was in brackets, so 2 times 3 is 6, and what do we do to 6 to get 2? We minus 4. So you've got y equals 2x minus 4, and that's your answer. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, find the equation of the straight line which passes through 3 minus 2 and is parallel to the line 3y minus 2x equals 5. So again, remember, we need this equation in the form of y equals mx plus c. So we're going to take away the 2x minus 2x from that side. So we're going to add 2x. So we've got 3y equals 2x plus 5. And then we're going to divide by 3 because we just need 1y equals 2/3 x plus 5 over 3. And again, we don't need anything to do with the c. We just need the gradient. So we know it's going to be y equals 2/3 x. Passes through the point 3 minus 2. So again, we're going to substitute. So minus 2 equals, and then 2/3 of 3. Nice and simple, cross divides, and you just get 2 times 1. So what do you do to 2 to get minus 2? So we minus 4. So y equals 2/3 x minus 4 is your answer. Yeah, and then of course you can write it in your answer line there. Yeah, and you get all the marks. Okay, I hope that was easy. Again, anytime you find any of the questions hard, just go through it again, pause, try doing it by yourself as many times as it takes for you to feel really comfortable. And please join me in part 5 to work on some more interesting questions. Remember, you're in control. Take care. Until next time. Bye.